The Red Sox are interested in trading for Dalton Rushing. We've got the latest Dodgers rumors. Also, Dodgers president Andrew Friedman, he opens up about the Dodgers plan at the trade deadline. The Dodgers also made a sneaky signing. We'll get into that. All that more coming up next on a jam-packed Friday episode of Dodgers Dugout Live.
It's time for Dodger baseball. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
This is the golden age of Dodger baseball. The Dodgers are building a dynasty.
You got it, Warrior Parade! We got it, Parade! The Dodgers punch back and head to the championship series!
Ohtani starts the 50-50 club. Mookie Magic. Friedman hits the ball to right field. She is gone! Start the party, Los Angeles! Your Dodgers have won the World Series!
Think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
What is up, Dodgers Nation, and welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. My name is Doug McKain, credentialed member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. If you are new to the channel, do me a huge favor, join the party, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. If you're a longtime subscriber and you're a longtime viewer of the show and you want to support this show, hit the subscribe button, but also hit the like button, drop a comment down below. Join our Discord, talking lots of Dodgers trade rumors. In that, also join the big lead. Of course, we got to get to the Dodgers Dugout Live poll question of the show. And this one's pretty close. It's one of the closer ones we've seen in a while. I asked you guys over on the X, should the Dodgers trade Dalton Rushing? And right now, 43% say yes, while 57% say no. So it is closer than a lot of these polls have been. And we've got lots of Dodger baseball to get into. So let's get right into it.
Leading off, the hottest story in Dodger baseball.
So the hottest story in Dodger baseball is that the Red Sox are interested in trading for Dodgers catcher Dalton Rushing. This was reported earlier today by Sean McAdam of Mass Live. He also reported that the Dodgers have had a, quote, scouting presence at Boston's high A affiliate in Greenville to monitor shortstop prospect Franklin Arias and left-handed prospect Brandon Clark. So there's no word on if a deal is close to being done. There's no word if there's something that's imminent. I would give this a 3 Dodger dogs. There is some smoke here. I was able to reach out to some Red Sox insiders. I was able to reach out to some of the reporting on this right here. And basically, the catcher market in Major League Baseball has dwindled for some of the younger players. And you look at the Crochet deal that they made last year. Who they trade for? They traded Kyle Teel. And Kyle Teel is someone that Dodger fans might remember just because he was the guy that hit that home run off of Roki Sasaki there when he made his first live BP against another team down in spring training in Arizona. But he was their starting catcher of the future, and they traded him for Garrett Crochet. And Dalton Rushing is someone that could immediately go to the Red Sox. He'd be an upgrade to Connor Wong, who's been their starting catcher. Carlos Navarez's backup catcher this year. Wong is hitting 144. He's been atrocious at the plate. And you look at, from the Dodgers standpoint, Dalton Rushing is the ultimate conundrum for them right now. Because the truth of the matter is with Dalton Rushing is last year the Dodgers signed Will Smith to a 10-year, $140 million extension. He is in year 2 of that extension. And Dalton Rushing, he was great down in AAA this year. He got promoted pretty quickly in 31 games for AAA Oklahoma City. Dalton Rushing hit 308, had a 424 on base, slugged 514. Since being called up, he's hit 216, a 280 on base, slugging 297 in 27 games. And yes, the opportunities have not really been there for Dalton Rushing. I've talked to him a couple different times about just having to work through not having everyday at-bats. And for young players to be able to hit in this league, remember, hitting a baseball is one of, if not the most difficult things to do in professional sports against big league pitching. And the truth is, to develop at this level, you need to play every day. You need everyday at-bats. And he has not gotten that, but still the flashes have been there. The numbers don't look great. A .578 OPS. He's hit just one home run, was off a position player, has had 3 doubles. But talking to him, he told me that he's taken a lot at bats off the Traject machine, which is a machine at Dodger Stadium that simulates big league pitching. Anytime you see players and pitchers getting their rehab work in and live BP sessions, a lot of times it is Dalton Rushing there getting those at bats. But the truth is, if you look long term for Dalton Rushing in this organization, the path for playing time for him is as Will Smith's backup catcher, getting a couple starts a week. And this year, having Will Smith take a little tiny bit of a step back, but he still qualifies, right? It's not like he doesn't qualify for major league stats. He still has played a good amount. So it's not like he's playing 2 or 3 games a week, right? Will Smith intends to play the majority of the time. So that would give Dalton Rushing 1 or 2 starts a week behind the dish, depending on the schedule. And then next year, would you consider playing him in the outfield, possibly in left field? Then would you consider using him as a first baseman to spell Freddie Freeman? Well, let's address some of those. First, let's start with Freddie Freeman. I got a chance to talk to Freddie Freeman in Atlanta. I asked him about his goal of getting to 3,000 hits, and he told me, yes, that is attainable. Yes, he would like to get to that round number and become the 34th player in Major League history to have 3,000 hits. Well, to get 3,000 hits, you have to play regularly, and he's a guy that feels like his rhythm is intertwined with everyday at-bats. So Freddie Freeman, yeah, he might, as he gets older, take more time off, a day here, a day there, but that still gives you an occasional start for Dalton Rushing at first base. And then DH, well, they had Shohei Ohtani. Enough said there. Left field, he still has to develop defensively. And then the Dodgers, you've got Andy Pages and you've got Teoscar Hernandez under contract for the next couple of seasons, right? Teoscar is going to be a corner outfielder, right? The only other positions for him would be DH. That's not going to happen. And you look at left field, Andy Pages, he profiles and projects as an everyday corner outfielder, not an everyday center fielder. So ask yourself this question. Where does Dalton Rushing play if he stays in this organization long term? And is that fair long term to Dalton Rushing? This is a guy who you look at his underlying stats. You look at how hard he hits the baseball. He hits the baseball extremely hard. And we've talked about that a lot and how that's not led to results for Michael Conforto. But for your young player like Dalton Rushing to have a 12.2% barrel rate and you see some promise in some of the other underlying stats, well, it tells you that, hey, you got someone that teams would value as an everyday player. You look at the sweet spot percentage, you look at the chase percentage, he doesn't chase. The strikeout rate's been higher than you would have liked at 41.5%, the whiff rate 38.8%. He's still got to develop. He's only had 82 plate appearances, less than 100 at the big league level. So if you are the Dodgers, you look at Dalton Rushing, if he were to be included in the top 100 prospects right now in Major League Baseball, he'd be around 20, something in that range. So you would be taking advantage of a kind of a sell high level prospect that's still kind of in that transition from being a prospect to an everyday to a backup level Major League Baseball player. And then you have Hunter Fiducia, who could be Will Smith's backup. And if you want to go that route, someone who's older, doesn't quite have the ceiling of a Dalton Rushing, but profiles more as a backup. The truth about Dalton Rushing is he does not profile as a backup catcher. And yes, it's nice to have that level of depth and upside from a backup, but he's 24 years old. right? I mean, he needs to get into a situation, I think, that ultimately gives him more playing time. If he would stay with the Dodgers, could you get Will Smith to move to third and he plays catcher? Well, from what I'm told, Will Smith, he wants to be a catcher for the majority of that 10-year contract. That's why he signed that deal. He wants to catch. He does not want to change positions. Maybe some years down the line, he might consider it, but at least for the next couple of years, and even probably beyond that, he wants to be behind the dish. So, look, I mean, I love Dalton Rushing. I consider him honestly a friend, really. Would I want to see him on the Dodgers? Absolutely. Would I want to see him make multiple all-star teams with his team? I 100% would, but I also think that when you look at where the Dodgers are at in their window right now, well, it's now, right? What does Apollo Creed say in Rocky? There is no tomorrow. For me, for the Dodgers, there is no next season, right? It's about the 2025 season and maximizing 2025. And you look at some of the prospects they've shown interest in some guys that would be up and coming, guys that wouldn't help this team win now. Would this be a Michael Busch situation where you're trading Dalton Rushing for prospects that could develop in your system? You definitely want to have some more infielders. You definitely want to develop from that standpoint. Sure. And Franklin Arias and Brandon Clark, those are guys that Franklin Arias is a shortstop prospect. He's right at the top in their farm system. And Brandon Clark is someone that could have some upside as well. But I doubt, one thing that I 100% doubt is that if the Dodgers were to trade Dalton Rushing, that it would be for just prospects. I think it would be a combination of possibly prospects and some win now pieces. And talking to a insider for the Boston Red Sox, one trade that he threw out at me was Dalton Rushing, Sean Lennon, Peyton Martin for Jarren Duran. And I don't love the idea of just those three guys for Jarren Duran as the centerpiece alone. I think you would want more from the Red Sox, and I think you'd possibly want a 3-team trade to get a reliever from another team along with a Jarren Duran. But if it means going all in and trading Dalton Rushing this season because it helps you win this year, I 100% would be interested in doing that. If it's about making this team better this season, if it's about going all in on the 2025 Dodgers, that's where I'm at. And I asked about the possibility of including Aroldis Chapman in that deal. Right now, it appears that the Red Sox have no interest in dealing Aroldis Chapman because they're right in the wild card, right? They're 6 games back in the AL East behind the Blue Jays, but they're still right there to make the postseason as a wild card. And Aroldis Chapman is a win now piece that is going to hit free agency after this year's expiring contract. But let's talk some Jarren Duran, because Jarren Duran is right towards the top. I'm going to drop that big board tomorrow. Top 10 Dodgers trade target. So look out for that. But Jarren Duran is right there for the outfielders. And if it was a Dalton Rushing for Jarren Duran kind of 1-for-1 thing, that one I would want to get more value from if I'm the Dodgers. And from what I'm told, the Red Sox would want a win now pitcher too. So if that means a Dustin May or a Justin Robleski, I'd prefer to keep an Emmet Sheehan. Well, then that's something you consider if you're bringing a pitcher back in return, right, as a reliever. So that's kind of what would change the calculus on that. I've said yesterday I would want to keep Dustin May, and I would unless they're going to bring someone back in some capacity. Well, let's talk some Jarren Duran, because Jarren Duran is a player we've been talking about this show for weeks as a possibility for the Dodgers. And the reason why the Red Sox would trade Jarren Duran is simply because, from what I was told, it's just a depth thing. Basically, you got 5 guys for 3 outfield spots and a DH with the Boston Red Sox. You basically have surplus and they have value. So you're going to want to take advantage and capitalize on that. And Jarren Duran, the he'd immediately be the fastest player on the Dodgers. 29.1 feet per second in the 92nd percentile. 2 biggest pro, before we talk about his offense at all, is I'm told that he would be immediately a center fielder for this team. And yes, the defense this year it hasn't graded well on some of the metrics that you look at. He's a -4 outs above average this season, but last year he was 10 outs above average in the 95th percentile. I was told 100% absolutely. He's got the speed and athleticism and skills and the ability to be an everyday center fielder. So if you would bring Jarren Duran in, it'd be bye-bye Michael Conforto, drive him to the airport, see you later. He'd be this year's Noah Syndergaard, right? 1-year contract guy. You had hopes for, you hoped that he would work out for you, but it just did not. And then you've got Andy Pages going to left field, which he's better defensively. The arm certainly still plays up, and you don't have to worry about some of those reads off the bat that he struggles to make in center field, like we saw last week against the Twins. And then you keep Teoscar Hernandez in right field, and then in center field, you have a true center fielder that can play that position in Jarren Duran. I don't know about you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I don't love watching when the Dodgers are on defense and you see bloop single, base hit, line drive bouncing in front of these outfielders. I don't know about you guys. Not the biggest fan of that. And Jarren Duran is someone that's got speed, agility, and let's not forget, fun fact, he is a hometown kid. He is someone from Southern California, and I think that he brings his best baseball with him because he's had a down season compared to his breakout year in 2024. In 2024, he made All MLB second team. He was the triples leader. He made the All-Star team in 2024, and he was 30% above league average as a bat. You also look at the just overall WAR numbers. I mean, he was really a special player in 2024 that could do a lot of different things, a very versatile type of player. I mean, the dude had an 8.7 WAR season. He had an OPS of 834, OPS plus of 131, has some pop in that bat. He had 21 home runs, led the league with 14 triples, and led the league with 48 doubles. So he's a gap-to-gap hitter, uses that speed. And one thing that the Dodgers look at when they're looking at potential bats, and the reason why they took a flyer on Michael Conforto was the thing we've heard all season long. He hits the ball hard. He makes hard contact. Well, that's what Jarren Duran does. He's in the 87th percentile in average exit velocity, 92 miles per hour. The bat speed, 85th percentile. Hard hit percentage, 46.6%, 69th percentile. Nice. And then you look at just areas where he needs to improve. Yes, strikes out, swings and misses. But those are things from a play discipline standpoint that I think that he would pick up on in this organization. And then you look at the youth. He'll be 29, but he also has a club option for next season and then 2 more years of team control. So you would have him for a good chunk of time in your organization, a guy that can take over that center field spot that you just don't have an answer for right now. And then another thing that does is I think Tommy Edman comes into the infield. And I do think that I've said this for the entire season. I still feel like ultimately you're going to see a combination of Tommy Edman and Mookie Betts, shortstop, second base, depending on what they do at the deadline. If they do make a move for an outfielder that can play center field, I think you kick Tommy Edman to second base where he has won a Gold Glove. But if it were me, if I was calling the shots, which I wish I did, I'd put him at shortstop and ask myself, wait a minute, what happened last time he was a shortstop? They won a World Series. So him at shortstop, Mookie at second base, Muncy at third, Freddie at first, Teo in right, Pages in left, and Jarren Duran in center. So I definitely would love to see Jarren Duran on the Dodgers. I think he brings a lot of upside. I think he solves a lot of their problems this season. And also, too, like, let's be honest, like, cool factor means something, right? Being a fan favorite, he plays with his hard-nosed, gritty style that Dodgers fans would fall in love with. Dodgers fans would absolutely fall head over heels for Jarren Duran. The speed, the doubles, the triples, home runs occasionally, great defense. And let's not forget, too, this is a hometown kid. Like I said, it's a little rewind on Jarren Duran. He's from Corona, California, born on September 5th, 1996. And where did he go to college? He's a Cal State Long Beach dude. So I like the fit. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think there's something percolating right now with the Dodgers and the Boston Red Sox. So we'll get your comments too. Read some comments down below. Grayson, 199 Super Chat. Ideal deadline, Jarren Duran, Jax, Griffin Jackson, Alcantara. Too much. I mean, I don't think that they're going to go out there and trade for a starting pitcher. I really do not. And from what I've heard, they're extremely confident this time around in Tyler Glasnow because of the mechanical adjustments that he's made, the mental breakthrough that it feels like he made, just from my observation, I think helps a lot too. And let's not forget this. For all these people trying to hug prospects and trying to hug Josue Paula and all these guys, the window is now. Did you not see what the Dodgers did this offseason? They gave $182 million to a 32-year-old pitcher in Blake Snell. You have Tyler Glasnow in his absolute prime. You have Shohei Ohtani pitching again. Yoshinobu Yamamoto in his prime. They want to send Clayton Kershaw out with a World Series. The window is now. There is no next season. And this team is obsessed with putting together a World Series winning team. There's a lot of posturing right now, I feel like, with Brandon Gomes and Andrew Friedman with some of the comments they're making, because I think that they, one, don't want to make it known out there to teams that they're obsessed and all in and borderline desperate to maximize their roster this year for leverage purposes. And then two, in the event that a deal does not get done, there's not a sense of disappointment. Andrew Friedman, he told the Southern California News Group about the trade deadline. He said, quote, "For us, it's much more about if we can add a talented arm and the acquisition cost makes sense, we'll do it. But it's not necessarily with the role in mind as much as a talented arm that can get big outs in October. We will run that play out as we have done every other year." So clearly they're interested. And I think what he says right there makes me think, is Sandy Alcantara an option? Well, if you would trade for Sandy, one, you give yourself some protection in the event that any of your current starters get injured. And two, you can kick one of those starters to the bullpen. But none of those guys are kicked to the bullpen type of starters, right? Those are all made men by big league standards. But I think what Friedman is getting at is that, yeah, when you trade for a reliever at the deadline, it can come back to haunt you. I mean, I give you multiple examples, right? We've got the Yordan Alvarez nightmare for Josh Fields. O'Neal Cruz for Tony Watson. Zach McKinstry for Chris Martin. You can look back and say, hey, Zach McKinstry went on to make an all-star team. But that's why I think that if they do trade for one of these top relievers, whether it be a Johan Duran, whether it be a David Bednar, whether it be an Emmanuel Clase, and you try to get him with Steven Kwan, I think that you're not going to see it as an isolated move. I think you'll see that as either a multi-team deal or a 2-for-1 deal where you got a headliner and then you're able to get multiple players in return. I don't think they're going to just completely empty all the assets simply just for a reliever. I think they're going to get creative about it, but I think they ultimately will do it. Remember, scared money don't make none. And this is the Dodgers team that I can tell you, they are obsessed with taking advantage of Shohei Ohtani's prime, with becoming the first team to go back-to-back since the 2000 Yankees. And I think they realize that they have the potential to do something special. Let's be honest here. If you win another World Series in 2025, you've already set yourself up as the marquee franchise, the model franchise in Major League Baseball because of your consistency. But when you win a World Series title in back-to-back years, you go to another tier. You are elevated. Let's be honest. Most organizations out there could rest on their laurels. They could rest on, hey, we won in 2020. We won in 2024. We're kind of banged up this year. We want to make sure we have sustainable winning. We're not going to go all in the season. 99.9% of franchises would probably have that mentality in all of sports. But the Dodgers are in a unique situation because of their window, because of their core, because of their chance to do something special, because of the resources they do have, and they are obsessed with winning a title. One quote I like is, interested people watch obsessed people make history and change the world, right? The Dodgers could change the baseball world by going back to back. They absolutely could. Because how many years are casual fans ever going to talk about the World Series winners from 2023 or 2022, right? How many times are people going to talk about the 2023 Texas Rangers, right? If you're a Rangers fan, you might bring it up every now and then. But if the Dodgers go back to back with this group, you can include them on the short list of the 2000 Yankees, the 70s Reds, the Murderers Row Yankees, the best teams of all time, because you're doing something that's so rare. So we'll do some more trade talk coming up next. Drop your comments, guys. We're going to do the 7th inning stretch in a little bit. Claudia Levin said, I received my Pies t-shirt. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Noel, for taking care of that. I'm assuming you did that, right? Yeah, Claudia was like, guys, when we do giveaways, we give them away, right? Unlike a lot of shows out there, right? Not naming names, we do our giveaways, okay? Yeah. So, you know what? We'll do a giveaway at some point very soon here.
Also, D-Mac, real quick, just to jump in, the lineup came out, Mookie is not playing.
That's breaking news, and thank you so much, Mr. Noel. So we'll talk about that next. Mookie Betts not in the lineup. We'll hear from Dave Roberts at some point to find out if there's more information as to why. But that's coming up next on Dodgers Dugout Live. Welcome to the Dodgers Nation Podcast Network, your front row seat to everything Dodgers all season long. Home of the #1 Dodgers podcast in the world, Dodgers Dugout Live, hosted by me, Doug McKain. Friends call me D-Mac, and we cover everything about your boys in blue, everything you need to know about Dodger baseball in less than an hour. We've got breaking news, post-game breakdowns, roster updates, trade rumors, in-depth player analysis, Dodgers trivia, you name it. Whether it's a wild walk-off at the Ravine, a key call-up from OKC, we've got the insight, we got the coverage, and we're here for you all year long. We're the #1 Dodgers site on every platform, and we're born and based in LA. We're loyal to the soil. Dodger baseball is what we do. Trusted by tens of thousands of daily listeners, Dodgers Nation is more than just recaps. We are LA. Whether you're in Echo Park or out in the Valley, Beverly Hills, whatever it is, if you bleed blue, this pod's for you. The more you guys subscribe, the bigger we can build, and we can do this together. So stay up to date with our Dodgers Nation post-game shows and breakdowns and podcasts. You can listen while you're lifting, while you're in traffic, or while pretending to answer work emails. We won't tell. Subscribe now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your baseball fix. So if you're a new listener or a longtime listener to the podcast, write us a review and we'll read it on the show. Join the conversation, stay ahead of the game, and never miss a pitch with the Dodgers Nation Podcast Network. And welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. The chat is lighting up. I want more of your takes. I like this Mr. Classic. Jarren Duran equals Pau Gasol. That's a little extreme, okay? Pau Gasol, that led to a finals appearance and led to him being a big player and in multiple championships. But hey, I mean, I like the Lakers analogy, right? You talk about, I mean, how many times are we going to talk about the Bucks from a couple years ago, right? How many times are we going to talk about this year's Thunder? I don't know. But we always talk about the three-peat Lakers because they won multiple titles consecutively, and that's what the Dodgers have a chance to do. But want to do some shout outs here to some of our sponsors, because this show cannot be possible without you guys, cannot be possible without Noel and the gang. It cannot be possible without our sponsors, especially our friends over at Factor Meals. So I want to show some Factor Meals some love. I had a Factor Meal lunch a couple minutes ago before the show, and Dodgers summer is here, and that means more sun, more light, and more time to make trips to the stadium to make summer special. And the number one thing you don't want to be doing all summer, spending your hours cooking inside. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. I wouldn't have the energy to host the show if I wasn't being powered by Factor meals. And with 45 weekly out menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your summer gains and goals. Choose from options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. These meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, so you have time for all of your activities throughout the day. My go-to Factor meals lately have been the Parmesan and garlic cream, shredded beef, and smoky barbecue chicken breast. Get started at factormeals.com/Dodgers50off and use Dodgers50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Dodgers50off at factormeals.com/Dodgers50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/Dodgers50off. Okay, here in our next segment, we're going to talk about the Dodgers lineup that dropped just minutes ago, and we were waiting to see if Mookie Betts would be in that lineup. Dave Roberts said after the game a few days ago, after the Dodgers walked it off against the Twins, that Mookie Betts could miss Friday's game due to personal reasons, and now we know that it is official. He will not be in the lineup today. No Mookie Betts for the Dodgers. And we can't say it's a shocker or surprise because we knew it was coming, but how does that lineup look? Well, Shohei Ohtani's back hitting leadoff, Will Smith in the 2-hole, Freddie Freeman batting third, Teoscar Hernandez batting cleanup, Andy Pages in center batting fifth, Michael Conforto batting sixth in left field, Tommy Edman at third base batting seventh, Hesung Kim gets a start. You love to see that. At second base, batting eighth, and then Miguel Rojas at shortstop, batting ninth. So, of course, this is because Mookie Betts is out, but Miguel Rojas at shortstop has a nice ring to it. And then, of course, you got Emmet Sheehan, who's from that area. He's on the bump. Emmet Sheehan has a big opportunity tonight to continue to build on some of the early progress he's made. All right, let's get into some of these chats. We got NS chat wants a Dodgers Nation hat. That is, you know what? If you want a Dodgers Nation hat, join the Discord channel, right, Noel? So yeah, that's the key to that. Because the thing is, we could sell these hats, right? We could sell these hats, but then we'd be in the jail cell next to Wander Franco, right? I mean, yep. We would, they say Dodgers on it, right? We maybe could switch it up with the DN, but if you join the Discord, we can kind of give you one. There's some gray area there. So yeah, that's kind of the key there. But yeah, these are some fresh lives. Shout out to my friends over at Hat Launch for keeping me right. Like Noel getting free merch all day on Instagram.
Doug only does the license stuff. He's a level above me.
You know what?
I get my stuff from.
I used to be the bootleg queen.
I get my stuff from the alley downtown. You know.
No,
I always get the custom.
Your peeps keep you right. Your peeps keep you right. We got History Man 08028. Wow, DMAC. How did you change your clothes so fast? Yeah, you know, Superman's out. You know, go check out our awesome Superman Ohtani thing done by our great Robert here. But yeah, so no Mookie Betts in the lineup, and it'll be very interesting to see what it means for this team this weekend, because Mookie's gone 3 for 17 since they put him in the leadoff spot. He's really struggled for a long time now. We talked a lot about Mookie on yesterday's show about some of the issues that he's been having. But look, if he needs a reset, if he would benefit from a week off, then I think they should just stop kicking the can down the road if there's any issue whatsoever with Mookie Betts and why he would need some time off. Because, like I said, I mean, he's gone from a 140 weighted runs created plus down to a 90 weighted runs created plus. His offensive production this year, statistically, has dropped 50%. So you got to get to the bottom of it any way you can, and we'll see what happens, because it's not the defense. If you look at MLB's defensive run save leaders, him and Corey Seager both have +8. They're 3 and 4 at Major League Baseball. So the defense has been great. The offense has suffered, but he is going to be out today for personal reasons. So we'll wait to see what Dave Roberts has to say about that. And we'll give you the latest as soon as we hear any new information. Now, as far as some Dodgers news to update you on, one of the big additions for the bullpen could be an internal piece, and that is Blake Treinen. Yesterday, Blake Treinen, he went 1 inning, gave up no runs, had a strikeout, 12 pitches, 9 for strikes, very efficient. The heater topped out at 96 miles per hour. He went back-to-back games, so that was the final box they needed to check. So I'm guessing that Dave Roberts will say later that Blake Treinen is going to join them in Boston. So if he can get back to being that high-leverage arm, that's going to solve a lot of their bullpen issues. I think for him, you don't want to burn him into the ground in the regular season because of how important he is in the postseason, but that's definitely a positive there. Some more minor league news to get into, and this isn't something that's kind of interesting as far as it pertains to the trade deadline. Well, Eduardo Quintero, he was promoted to high A. He is the number 80th prospect, and the Dodgers, they are high on him internally. He leads qualified single-A hitters with a 960 OPS. He's tied for first with 14 home runs. Well, he's a ways away. And the Dodgers, they do have some other outfield guys. You've got the Zaire Hopes and the DePaulas, and you've got some guys that are closer to the show. Would Quintero, would he be someone the Dodgers would shop? I mean, remember last year, Jack Flaherty, the big buzzing guy that was making his way through the Dodgers farm system and was sort of having a meteoric rise, was Tyrone Lorenzo. They flipped him for Jack Flaherty, and a lot of the reason why was Lorenzo was going to be a while to see him play. He was behind the dish, and they wanted to take advantage. So some of these emerging ones are the ones that you see the Dodgers deal. So that's something to think about as well. Now, another thing to mention is the Dodgers did make a sneaky signing yesterday that we'll talk about here. They ended up signing Matt Gorski. So Matt Gorski, he is a guy that has had a really interesting path to the bigs. They optioned him to AAA on May 17th, and then they end up placing him on the injured list. And then on June 19th, they sent him to the 60-day IL. So we don't know what his situation is from a health standpoint, but the Pirates, they DFA'd him on July 11th, and he cleared waivers, and the Pirates released him a few weeks after that. So he was someone that was a pretty high draft pick. I mean, they drafted him in the second round in 2019. He was working his way through the minor league system. The highest prospect ranking he got was 17th. That was back in 2023 for the Pirates. And if you look at his numbers overall, 30 home runs, 89 RBI, hit 254 in 152 AAA games. But it's most likely going to be a nothing burger, but definitely something you need to know about. But all right, guys, now we're going to do some trade AMAs. Anything you got, we're going to get into next on the seventh inning stretch.
The seventh inning stretch.
All right, we got Kike started the Rally Popsicle LFG. Carlos Estevez, early winner for the comment of the show. Can give you some love for that. The Rally Popsicle. We got to get a t-shirt for the Popsicle, man.
Ando.
The Rally Popsicle. I want a Dodgers Nation meetup. We could have one. I've been working on something with that one dude in Whittier, something like that. More details later. Got to work out the financials on that one, right? My appearance fee. I might need a little more bread on that appearance fee. Noel and I need a little more bread on that appearance fee, right? But be on the lookout for that one for sure, because it could be something really cool to go out and meet you guys. Do a live show. Do a shoey live. You know, I might do a shoey out of one of your shoes. No. How about that? I'll do a shoey out of Claudia Levin's shoe. I'll do a shoey out of BC's shoe. I'll do a shoey out of Brianna Rochelle's shoe. And okay, I probably won't, but okay. We got yeah, I'll do a shoe out of Sydney Sweeney's shoe. By the way, I just dropped like $300 at American Eagle yesterday. No. I 3 bills at American Eagle. Yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, the Red Sox are interested in Dalton Rushing. I'm interested in Cindy Sweeney, right? Doesn't mean no, I'm just kidding. Obviously, if happily married guy here, but yeah, I mean, a lot of people are interested in things they can't have unless you pay the price, right?
I heard there's a certain bar of soap you could buy to get you closer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Someone in the chat was going to send me some. Sean Klein, what reliever could the boys in blue trade Dustin May for? That's a really good question because you're not going to get one of the top shelf guys. You're not going to get a top shelf reliever for a Dustin May. And I think most likely the Dodgers wouldn't want to trade for a reliever that would come just from a Dustin May 1-for-1 type of trade, just because you look at what they have coming back. If those guys stay healthy, how much would that reliever actually improve upon what they already have? It would be more of, okay, it's because they have guys injured, right? So I think most likely with Dustin May, it would be a package for, a team that was trying to still win this year and give him normal starts. You're really just trying to do a solid and do right by Dustin May to put him in a position where he can make regular starts and put him in a better position to sign a nice contract as he enters free agency versus throwing him into the bullpen here, uncertainty, not really getting that role that he wants. But as far as relievers go, I don't think they would kind of look at, oh, he's that guy that we need to trade for. I think you look at some of the names like Felix Bautista, Manuel Clase, even if you wanted to look for a hybrid guy like a Seth Lugo, if you wanted to go that route, then you would have to include some prospects, right? You would have to include prospects, win now guys. And if he's a part of that for a team that's trying to win now, then I think it makes sense. But you're not getting Griffin Jacks straight up for Dustin May. You're not getting David Bednar straight up. We got Joe Megazan. Who are some other trade targets that no one's talking about? I think one that we mentioned a couple months ago, honestly, was Ramon Laureano. He's someone that's an outfielder as well. He crushes right-handed pitching, 926 OPS versus righties. He's had himself a really, really good year offensively, hitting 280, 12 home runs, 4 stolen bases. He's someone that does not have a long-term commitment as far as you have a club option next season that they could pick up, but you're not married to him for a long time. So he's kind of more of the rental type that could potentially replace Michael Conforto if you wanted to go that route. Adi Aquino, I'm interested in Bonda, and I know I can't have him. Bruh. Oh, here's the new bruh.
Bruh.
Yes. There it is. I love this new bruh. We got Brian Rochelle. San Diego would be more sure to way overpay for Duran just so the Dodgers wouldn't get Duran. Brianna Rochelle. That's a fantastic point, but let's not forget what happened a couple years ago. We thought that Ken Rosenthal had accurately reported that Max Scherzer was going to the Padres, only for Max Scherzer and Trey Turner to go to the Dodgers. And sometimes those things happen. You look at Dalton Rushing, right? If the Dodgers included Dalton Rushing last year for Garrett Crochet, they could have traded for him. Instead, what I heard, the Dodgers included River Ryan. And they did not want River Ryan. River Ryan ultimately got injured, right? Just think about this. Look at everyone kind of gave me flack for wanting to go all in on that last year. But would you have felt good about that this year with the way that Garrett Crochet has looked? He's looked really good. DFLA, DMAC, how about a pregame meetup live show at the 76 station? Not against that. Not against that. That's the classic, man. The classic. They were talking about replacing that or something like that. No, never. We've got, does Factor have a free trial thing like HelloFresh, BC? I got to go to our sponsorship manager, Noel, for that one.
I believe they do. So if you use our code, you get 50% off your first trial, but I believe they do have free trials, so you could try out a couple of meals and see if you want to commit long term. So definitely head over to the site.
And Noel, did you put in my request? Because I got chat. I just want to say, I did put in the request for tortas, the biggest, juiciest tortas. Did you tell Factor Meals? And what
they're working on it.
They're working on it?
Working on it for you.
All right. I love that. I see D-Mac. I'm going to the Giants-Mets game and wearing all Dodgers gear. Pray for me. You'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. Mets fans, they can be civil. Nando390. Nando, I need some Factor. My wife burns a bowl of cereal. That's a bruh. My wife burns a bowl of cereal. Man, how do you burn a bowl of cereal? Okay. Why are you cooking? Obviously, Brianna Rochelle, D-Mac of the Dodgers still looking at Robert Jr. or have they moved their focus on Duran? There's no guarantee that they're even focused on Duran, Brianna. The only true indication we have is that they have checked in on Luis Robert Jr. and that they've shown interest in Stephen Kwan. And Jarren Duran is someone they certainly there's been links, but nothing past, okay, they want to make a move on him. I just think it makes sense. And I do think that if they're in the market for outfielders and they've made him available, then it only makes sense that they would have checked in some capacity. So I think it's only a matter of time until we hear at least some rumblings about that. As far as are they still interested in Luis Robert Jr., that's a good question. And we've talked about him extensively on the show. He's got a couple $20 million club options for 2026 and 2027. He's had a down year, still plays above average defense, would kind of come at a price that could be in the Jarren Duran ballpark after arbitration and things like that. But Duran, you actually have under team control for an additional season. I think with Robert Jr., you probably feel like he's a bigger risk than Duran, just because Duran is 4% above league average offensively. Last year was 30%. So it's not that big of a gap. For Luis Robert Jr., it's a bigger gap from where he was when he was an all-star to where he currently is. Now he's a 77 weighted runs created plus in 206. When he hit 38 home runs, it was an all-star in 2023 and received some downvote MVP votes way down the ballot. He had a 129 weighted runs created plus. So Luis Robert Jr. is a bigger project, might cost less, but think about it though. Are those natural trade partners? The White Sox, check. Red Sox, check. So anytime you're dipping into the American League and you're looking at familiar trade partners, you got to feel better about the potential of a deal. We just talked about the Twins. They were in town. Sure, there was some communication. Now you're in Boston. There's some communication, right? So that's kind of how this stuff plays out. History man 0828. Last year, the Dodgers used 40 different pitchers. It was a total team effort in pitching, fielding, and offense. It will have to be the same or similar this year if they want to repeat as champions. I think that you're right in the sense that anytime you win a World Series, you have contributions from different position groups. And yes, last year was the outlier. Like last year was a complete anomaly. The Dodgers bullpen, they were responsible for recording over 60% of the outs that the Dodgers got in the postseason. They helped score that. That Padres offense still hasn't scored a run, right? I mean, 24 straight scoreless for that Padres offense, and a lot of that had to do with the performance of that bullpen there in Game 4. You're not going to see that again. It's highly unlikely. I think this year the big difference is they're in a much better position to have quality starting pitching. And Brandon Gomes has mentioned it. Andrew Friedman has mentioned it, that the priority right now is not starting pitching. And I've seen people link Sandy Alcantara to the Dodgers. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think that's a one Dodger dog rumor right now, just because he's still in project mode. You still owe him some money. And then you're kind of in a position where if your aces are healthy, what are you supposed to tell them? I mean, right? What are you supposed to tell your aces? You're the number 5 starter. You might miss a whole postseason series, right? It's unlikely. It's going to be a reliever, possibly multiple relievers, and an outfield bat. I mean, that's what it's going to be. Tomorrow, I'm going to give you guys my ideal deadline. That one guy, D-Mac, what's more likely, the Dodgers getting Skeens or the Giants winning the World Series? I think there's a better chance of me going on a date with Sidney Sweeney tonight than the Giants winning the World. No, actually, the Giants can get hot. You never know, right? The Giants, the even years, you never knew what they were up to in the regular season. All of a sudden, they exploded. But the truth of the matter is, there's a much better shot that the Giants will win a World Series than the Dodgers getting Paul Skeens, because there is a 0% chance that the Dodgers are getting Paul Skeens at the deadline. I mean, barring the shocker of all shockers, I can report, having discussed this face-to-face with the most prominent Pirates insiders, they've told me that Paul Skeens is not getting traded at the deadline this year. So if it doesn't happen, then 1, I'm going to be mad at those guys for telling me that. But then 2, I'd be extremely shocked. We've got Nico Suave. The Dodgers are going to make some out-of-nowhere trade like they did last year that nobody freaking expected when they got Edman and Kopech. I mean, that's a really good point, and that's something that actually was wanting to get into at some point. Andrew Friedman only speaks when it's time to yell checkmate, right? And that was an extremely under-radar move. I mean, we actually did mention Kopech multiple times before that trade was made, but Tommy Edman was a surprise because of 2 things. He was injured at the time, and he was a Cardinal, right? And you rarely see the Cardinals and the Dodgers consummate deals, and they found a way to get a deal done. And if you kind of go back and look at that deal, well, hey, there was a surprise to it that the Cardinals didn't really know that Edman was going to go to the Dodgers at one point. It was kind of up in the air. So that's a really good point, though, is that when the Dodgers are as tight-lipped as they are and close to the vest as they are, sometimes you'll just get a passing bomb that all of a sudden shocks you. By the way, Ryan McMahon traded to the New York Yankees. Just wanted to talk about that for a quick second here, because that was a target that we had discussed when Max Muncy was scuffling that, hey, maybe he could be a Dodgers guy. And we know that it was always kind of unlikely for the Rockies to trade within the division, especially to the Dodgers. You were probably not going to see that. But now the Yankees, they get Ryan McMahon. And the Rockies, they got a couple of prospects in return. So the thing to look at here is kind of how that impacts and sets the market a little bit. Because one of those prospects was the lefty Griffin Herring. Other one was Josh Groves from Bob Nightingale. So the Yankees, they're taking on McMahon's contract, what's left of it. He's making $12 million this year. You got like $4 million to be paid out for the remainder of this year. You got $16 million in the next two seasons. So you're seeing guys with multiple years of team control traded. So that could be a theme that we're seeing. So Yankees, the team the Dodgers beat, they added a player that plays much better defense. So if you do see the Yankees in the World Series, maybe they're not going to, crap the bed and screw the pooch like they did last year because of the improvement at their base. LSU Jones. That's going to do it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. Follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Special thanks to producer Noel. Got all your chats. We'll be rocking with you all season and of the postseason. Check us out at the stadium as well. And also, if you haven't yet, watch the new episode of Dodgers Fan Cave. A lot of fun, hosted by my man J-Rob, produced by Robert. It's the best Dodgers merch and jerseys and fan gear. You're going to find it over there. So go over to the Fan Cave episode to check out their latest episode.
Dropping in about, I think, 1 hour.
1 hour is going to be hot and fresh to go check out. So go peep that for sure. Check out the post-game show. We're going live after the game. We'll get some more info on Mookie Betts and this Dodgers team and any trade rumors and anything that breaks. We will get into it. But guys, that's it for this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Remember, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit that like button on your way out for Los Angeles Dodgers. And remember that nothing, absolutely nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.
It's